Mr. Kirby, why do you think your artwork is so popular?
My artwork is popular because it connects with the ordinary person and they can understand it very easily.
Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. You can also look at the. I posted a link of the Marvel fan page slash wiki page that'll have plot synopsis and characters for these stories that we're about to look. So we're going to be looking at issues 201, 202, 203, and 204 of Captain America and the Falcon, as it was titled back then, written and drawn by Jack Kirby. So I have already covered his first 8 issues. Feel free to look them. And now I'm going to cover the rest. Now, I have the trades with these. So, full disclosure, I always say this all the time, every time I'm not a huge Jack Kirby fan. But other people are. So I'm just going to show these. These books were not very popular when they came out. A lot of people were not loving Jack Kirby's still style at that time. You know, people have appreciated it now. But, you know, it's the same thing that I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and I grew up with guys like Todd McFarlane and Jim Lee, Mark Silvestri, John Byrne. One of my favorites is Walter Simonson, who is quite the fan of Jack Kirby. I always felt that his style is outdated. I always feel I feel that a lot of the times he draws very stiff and he just I don't know. It just everyone looks so stiff. It's just one of those things that I still kind of when I look at his style I always feel. But boy does he do stuff though, like he does a lot of dynamic drawings. So real quick before I continue, I've never read these. I have the trades because my daughter works at a used bookstores and gets half off, and so I actually have the trades for this. But I looked at them. I like I said, I never read it. He does write it. Feel free to go, like I said, within the links below, and there'll be what the story is about in there. So I wouldn't even be able to tell you. Another thing is just the way he spots blacks. Doesn't always work for me, but you know he's a person of a different time. What the look at this airplane. Um, it's comic books, so I like I said, I try to respect him and what in his contributions. Um, I mean, the man basically co-created half the Marvel universe, and perhaps created it. Others, there's a guy on YouTube, Tom Sholey, who's a writer artist himself. He also does comic books. He's a huge Jack Kirby fan, and based on listening to him and other people, he pretty much created most of everything, and then Stan Lee sort of just went in there with um, he's the one that plotted, co-wrote a lot of stories. So when he came back, so this is after he had done the new gods at DC. So he was away from Marvel for 4 years, and this is his return. A lot of people back then were not very happy with the results of this. So, um, I feel bad for him. We've always had a thing, maybe not so much now. Um, People fall in love with the current style, and a lot of people don't appreciate the older style. This is, like I said, you look at this, it just looks very dated. But when you look at it in 20, well, as I'm recording this, it's November of 2023. I'm sorry, it's not even November of 2023. As I'm recording this, it's December of 2023, December 7th. Um, and I, you know, so when you look at it now, there's a sense of nostalgia in a way. This was released in the 1970s, 1976 actually, to be exact. So, like I mentioned, a lot of dynamic drawing that he did. So, and I have to be honest, like I said, and I've mentioned it, I'm just never, it just didn't interest me to read the story. But comic books are a visual medium, and um, I really poured into these pages and really, really looked at them and just kind of, um, looked at how he does his composition, because that's the one thing everybody talks about, his compositions. You see this girl here, and she's got her mouth open, so you can see that she's in some kind of distress. Um, so he doesn't just do the same repetition over and over. He tries to give you different angles. So yeah, that's a very cool panel here as he's so he can compose. There's a his style is one thing, that you can separate. You can say, oh, I don't like the style, but you definitely have to respect some of the some of the composition, how he tries to deliver the action and try to, so that you can see everything. So, yeah, I don't know who any of these people are. As I'm going through this, I'm like, man, I realized I've never read it. It's just, I tried. It just, like I said, it's not my cup of tea. So, all right, 2 issues down, 2 issues to go. And like I said, I have covered his first 8 issues in 2 parts. So feel free to check those out if you would like. So like I said, he wrote and penciled it. He co-created Captain America with Joe Simon. So this is one of his uh, best co-creations. This is one of his co-creations that had nothing to do with Stan Lee. So, like I said, it was Joe Simon. But Jack Kirby co-created Captain America, Thor, um, Hulk for sure, trying to remember if Iron Man was one of the. Because I don't think he drew Iron Man. So I went and checked, and Iron Man was with Don Heck. So it was not a Jack Kirby co-creation, but he also did the Fantastic Four, and we have Doctor Doom, the Red Skull. Let's see, Spider-Man was Steve Ditko. So, um, he 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 pulled his weight, Jack Kirby, with his creations. So I don't even know who the guy is, but I think we're in Texas because I saw this was called Alamo 2. So and you look at modern art and or modern comic books, it just looks so different than this. Oh, but like I said, this dude try to give everybody action, try to, you know, make sure that people were entertained. But there are some horror stories from his time, his second stint at Marvel. This poor guy just, um, he just didn't get quite the respect, and Marvel was not exactly very respectful at that time. So, all right, we're down to our last issue that we're gonna cover today. So it's kind of cool because I can go a little bit or a little bit faster than normal when I'm not narrating what's going on because I really as I'm looking at this I go, yeah, this is just not something I would read really. So um but if you enjoy this, like I mentioned, art is subjective, man. Just cuz I'm not it's not my cup of tea does not mean it shouldn't be your cup of tea. And just because someone doesn't like something doesn't mean that it's bad. Does it just means that that's not that person's cup of tea, not that person's, you know. I like I said, I like a lot of even the modern artists. There's an Italian artist called Andrea Sorrentino, and he spots it's very actually it's very not Kirby style, but he does spot a lot of blacks in a lot of different places. Um, you can see a lot of like Mike Allred. If you look at his style, you can definitely see a big influence from the Jack Kirby comics. I like this right here, how he puts them here and then he puts them here. So a lot of the times, part of my problem is, like I said, the stiffness and just how boxy these characters are. But I'm a huge fan of John Byrne, and John Byrne is a huge fan of Kirby, and so is Walt Simonson. Walt Simonson's in my top five, man. That man, I'm covering his store run, so feel free to check that out. Um, Man, the guy is a huge influence on me. So pretty cool. So here we go. So this ends how far I'm going to go. So Captain America 201 through 204 from 1976, written and penciled by Jack Kirby. Like and subscribe, and thanks for listening. Bye bye.